The wrench slipped from my oil-slicked fingers, clattering against the engine block like a gunshot in the quiet afternoon haze of that Iowa summer. I cursed under my breath, wiping sweat from my brow, when I felt it, that gaze, heavy as humid air, pinning me from the porch steps. Emily's Aunt Victoria wasn't just watching me fix her niece's beat-up Chevy. Her eyes, sharp and unyielding like polished sapphire, stripped away every layer I'd built to hide who I really was. In that single, endless moment, I knew she'd seen the truth I'd buried deeper than the spark plugs. I loved women, and the way my heart stuttered now, it was starting to feel like I could love her. I'd driven 2 hours from Des Moines that sticky July morning, the kind where the cornfields blurred into gold under a sky too blue to trust. Emily had called in a panic the night before, her voice cracking over the line like it did back in high school when we'd sneak smokes behind the bleachers. "Rosalie, please. The carburetor's shot again, and I can't afford a tow truck. You're the only one I trust with this junker." I said yes before I could think, because that's what you do for your best friend. The girl who'd held your hand through your parents' divorce, who'd never once pried when you dodged questions about boys. Little did I know, pulling into her aunt's gravel driveway outside Cedar Rapids would unravel the careful seams of my life. Victoria emerged from the house like she belonged to the landscape, all graceful lines and quiet authority, a woman who'd weathered storms without a single crack showing. She was Emily's mother's sister, widowed young, running the family farm since her husband's accident a decade back. Emily had mentioned her in passing. Aunt Vic's cool, but intense, but nothing prepared me for the reality. Mid-40s, with hair the color of midnight threaded with silver that caught the light like secrets waiting to spill, she moved with the easy confidence of someone who'd learned to carry the weight of the world on her shoulders. Her sundress, pale blue and whispering against her calves, fluttered in the breeze as she descended the steps, a glass of iced tea in one hand, condensation beating like tears. "Rosalie, right?" Her voice was low, laced with the soft drawl of the heartland, but there was an undercurrent, something that made my pulse skip. She extended the glass, her fingers brushing mine just long enough to send a spark up my arm. "Emily's told me all about you. The miracle worker with engines." I took the tea, forcing a laugh that sounded too tight even to my ears. "Miracle's a stretch. More like stubborn. This old girl's got a mind of her own." I nodded toward the Chevy, its hood propped open like a confession. Emily was inside, probably buried in her laptop, oblivious to the charge humming between her aunt and me. God, I needed to focus. 25 years old, fresh out of community college with a mechanic certification and a closet full of flannel shirts to hide the curves I sometimes wished were less pronounced, I'd mastered the art of deflection. Dates with nice guys from the shop, quick smiles that never lingered, a life pieced together from half-truths. But Victoria's eyes, they didn't deflect. They saw. As I bent back over the engine, the scent of her perfume, jasmine and earth, like the wildflowers edging the fields, lingered, distracting me more than the busted gasket. She leaned against the fender, arms crossed, watching with an intensity that made my skin prickle. "You know, Emily says you're the bravest person she knows. Facing down engines like they're nothing." "Brave." The word landed like a stone in still water. I glanced up, wrench in hand, and there was again that look. Not pity, not judgment, but recognition. Like she knew the real battles weren't under the hood, but the ones raging silent inside, where desire warred with fear in a town where different could cost you everything. My throat tightened. "Takes one to know one, I guess," I muttered, diving back into the work, but my hands shook just enough to drop a bolt into the dirt. She chuckled, a sound rich and warm, bending to retrieve it. Our fingers met over the gravel, and time stretched thin. Her skin was soft, calloused in places from farm life, and in that touch, I felt the pull, a magnetic ache I'd only read about in the dog-eared novels I hid under my mattress. When she straightened, handing me the bolt, her smile was small, knowing. "We'll get her running, Rosalie. Secrets and all." The rest of the afternoon blurred into a rhythm of tools and small talk, but every glance from Victoria chipped away at my armor. Emily burst out eventually, all apologies and hugs, declaring me a hero when the engine roared to life on the first try. We celebrated with burgers on the porch, the three of us under the string lights as dusk painted the sky in bruised purples. Emily chattered about her job at the library, her latest failed Tinder date, but I barely heard. Victoria sat across from me, her foot accidentally, intentionally, brushing mine under the table, and each time, my heart slammed against my ribs like it was trying to escape. That night, as Emily showed me to the guest room, her old childhood space with posters of boy bands peeling at the edges, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd crossed an invisible line. The house was old, creaky floors and walls that seemed to whisper, and as I lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, I heard footsteps in the hall. Soft, deliberate. My door cracked open, moonlight spilling in like an invitation. "Can't sleep?" Victoria's silhouette filled the frame, her nightgown a shadow of silk. I sat up, sheets pooling around my waist, pulse thundering. Too much adrenaline, I think. She stepped inside, closing the door with a click that echoed like fate sealing shut. Perching on the bed's edge, she regarded me with those eyes, the ones that had unraveled me hours ago. "Emily's out like a light. Farm life does that." A pause, heavy with unspoken words. "You did good today, Rosalie. Not just with the car." My mouth went dry. "It's nothing. It's everything." Her hand reached out, tucking a stray lock of hair behind my ear, her touch lingering on my cheek. Electricity arced through me, pooling low in my belly, a heat I'd denied for years. "I've watched you all afternoon, pretending not to notice how you move, like you're holding back a storm." I froze, breath catching. How could she know? The late nights scrolling through forbidden forums, the crushes on girls in high school I'd buried under layers of denial, the fear of my conservative family finding out in this Bible Belt corner of America. "I don't know what you mean." Her thumb traced my jaw, gentle as a promise. "Those eyes of yours, Rosalie, they tell stories you think no one hears. But I do. I have my own." The air thickened, charged with possibility and peril. She leaned in, her breath warm against my lips, and for a heartbeat, I thought she'd kiss me. But she pulled back, standing with a grace that belied the tremor in her voice. "Sleep on it. Tomorrow's another day." And then she was gone, leaving me adrift in a sea of want and what-ifs. Morning broke with the rooster's crow and the smell of coffee brewing strong. Emily dragged me to the barn for chores, feeding the horses, mucking stalls, her laughter a lifeline pulling me from the night's turmoil. "Aunt Vic likes you," she said casually, tossing hay into a trough. "She doesn't warm up to people easy. Says you're genuine." Genuine. If only she knew how false that felt. I shoveled with renewed vigor, trying to outrun the memory of Victoria's touch, but when we returned to the house, there she was in the kitchen, apron tied around her waist, flipping pancakes with a spatula like it was an extension of her arm. Her smile for Emily was sisterly, warm, but for me, it held a spark, a secret shared in the tilt of her head. Breakfast stretched lazy, filled with stories of Emily's childhood escapades, Victoria chasing her through the fields with a switch for stealing cookies, the two of them building forts in the hayloft. I listened, mesmerized, piecing together the woman across from me, a college grad who'd returned home after her sister's death to raise Emily, turning down city jobs for the ache of family. Strong, solitary, her ring finger bare but for a faint tan line from the wedding band long gone. As Emily headed to town for groceries, Victoria cornered me by the sink. "Walk with me?" Not a question, really. We slipped out the back, toward the creek that bordered the property, wildflowers nodding in the breeze. The path was overgrown, nettles brushing our legs, but she navigated it like memory, her hand steady on my elbow when I stumbled. "Tell me about you, Rosalie," she said, settling on a flat rock by the water's edge, the rush of the stream a soothing underscore. What brings a city girl like you out here, fixing cars for friends? Des Moines wasn't city, not really, but I let it slide. Boredom, mostly. And Emily. She's family. I sat beside her, close enough to feel the heat radiating from her skin. What about you? Emily says you're a force. She laughed, soft and self-deprecating, skipping a pebble across the water. Force of habit, maybe. After David died, car wreck on the interstate. I had to be. For her. Her voice dipped, vulnerability cracking through. But it gets lonely, you know? Pretending you're whole when pieces are missing. My chest ached for her, for the woman who'd rebuilt a life from ashes. I know lonely, I whispered, the words escaping before I could cage them. Our eyes met, and there it was again, that piercing gaze, drawing out my truths like venom from a wound. More than you think. The creek babbled on, indifferent, as she reached for my hand, lacing our fingers with a naturalness that terrified and thrilled me. Then don't pretend with me, Rosalie. Not here. I didn't pull away. Couldn't. In that moment, with the sun dappling her face and the world narrowing to the press of her palm against mine, I let the dam crack. I'm not like other girls. I like women. Have for years. But back home in my family, it's like admitting you're broken. Her grip tightened, not in shock, but solidarity. Broken? Darling, that's the most whole I've ever heard. She turned my hand over, tracing the grease lines on my palm with her thumb. I was you once. Hidden kisses in dorm rooms, a marriage to fit the mold. It nearly killed me. The confession hung between us, raw and real, binding us in shared shadows. When she leaned in this time, I met her halfway, our lips brushing tentative, then fierce, a kiss born of starved longing, tasting of salt and sweetness. Her hands framed my face, gentle yet urgent, and I melted into her, the creek's song fading to a roar in my ears. We broke apart breathless, foreheads touching, the world remade in that fragile space. This could ruin everything, I murmured, fear clawing back in. It could make it, she countered, her voice a vow, if we let it. The days that followed were a fever dream of stolen moments and building tension. Emily, bless her oblivious heart, chalked up my flushed cheeks to the heat, dragging me to the county fair where we devoured corn dogs and rode the Ferris wheel under fireworks. But Victoria was everywhere, in the brush of her hip as we passed in the hall. The notes slipped into my toolbox with scribbled endearments. Your smile starts my mornings. Each one chipped at my resolve, pulling me deeper into a love that felt both inevitable and impossible. Yet the kitsch tin simmered beneath, a storm gathering. Whispers from neighbors about that girl from the city staying too long, Emily's offhand comment about her aunt's dry spell, the weight of my own secrets threatening to spill. One evening, as Victoria and I tangled in the hayloft, her body arching under mine, gasps muffled against my neck. The ladder creaked. Emily's voice called from below. Rosalie? You up there? We froze, hearts pounding, disentangling with frantic whispers. I tumbled down, hay in my hair, forcing a laugh. Just exploring old habits. She eyed me suspiciously, but let it drop, the moment a close call that left me shaken. That night, alone in the guest room, guilt warred with desire. Victoria slipped in later, her presence a bomb and a blaze. We have to tell her, she urged, curled against me, her head on my chest. Soon, I promised, but soon felt like a lifetime away in a world that still viewed us as scandal. The turning point came on a rain-lashed afternoon, thunder rumbling like Judgment Day. Emily had driven to Iowa City for a shift, leaving the house echoing. Victoria and I worked side by side in the garden, mud caking our knees, when she dropped the spade, pulling me into a kiss that tasted of earth and desperation. We stumbled inside, shedding clothes like sins, bodies entwining on the rug before the fireplace, slow, reverent, then wild with the pent-up fury of years denied. After, Sated and spent, we lay whispering dreams. A life beyond the farm, perhaps, or carving space here, defying the small-town stares. But as the rain eased, headlights pierced the dusk. Emily, home early, her face pale as she burst through the door. "What the hell?" Her voice shattered the afterglow, eyes wide on our disheveled forms. "Aunt Vic?" "Rosalie." Panic surged, hot and choking. Victoria rose, wrapping a blanket around us both, her voice steady as steel.
"Ain't sich.
"We need to talk." The confrontation stretched raw, Emily's tears mixing with confusion and betrayal. "My best friend? My aunt? How long?" "Long enough to know it's real," I said, voice breaking, reaching for her hand. She jerked away at first, then softened. The girl who'd always seen me pulling me close. It wasn't easy. Nights of arguments, slammed doors, Victoria's quiet strength holding us through. But in the unraveling, we wove something stronger, a family redefined, not by blood or convention, but choice and courage. Months later, as autumn leaves blanketed the driveway, Emily walked me down the aisle in the barn, turned chapel with wildflowers and lanterns. Victoria waited at the altar, eyes shining with that same knowing light, now boundless with joy. Our vows echoed simple truths, to see each other, secrets and all, in a world that tried to blind us. In the end, love wasn't the hook that caught us, it was the line that set us free. The wedding bouquet trembled in my hands, daisies and lavender trembling like my nerves as Emily squeezed my arm one last time before stepping back. "You got this, Rosie. She's waited her whole life for you." Her grin was watery. The scar of our revelation faded to a badge of survival. I nodded, throat too tight for words, and stepped forward into the golden light slanting through the barn doors. Victoria turned, and oh, God, she was breathtaking, her dress a cascade of ivory lace hugging curves I'd mapped in moonlight, hair pinned loose with wildflowers, eyes locking on mine with that intensity that still unraveled me. The officiant droned on about commitment and storms weathered, but I heard only her breath, syncing with mine, as we exchanged rings, simple gold bands etched with scene.
Known.
Loved. When she kissed me, soft and claiming before our makeshift congregation of farmhands and a few brave townies, cheers erupted, mixed with a few murmurs that no longer stung. We'd faced the town's gossip head-on, Victoria's bold letter to the local paper, my coming out to my parents over a tense Thanksgiving call that ended in shaky forgiveness. Emily's support had been our anchor, her transformation from shock to fierce ally a testament to love's reach.
But that was the epilogue.
The real story, the gut-wrenching, heart-soaring saga, had begun months before, in the quiet unraveling after Emily's discovery. That rainy night, after the initial explosion, we'd sat in the living room, fire crackling like accusations. Emily paced, her ponytail swinging like a pendulum of fury. "How could you? Both of you sneaking around like teenagers." "I'm right here." Victoria, ever the rock, pulled her down onto the couch, blanket draped over her shoulders like armor. "Because love doesn't wait for permission, sweetheart. But we should have told you. That's on us." I knelt before Emily, mud still streaking my jeans from the garden, grasping her hands. "You're my sister, Em. Always. This doesn't change that. If anything, it makes us more." She searched my face, then Victoria's, the fight draining from her eyes. "It hurts. Feeling like the last to know. Like I didn't matter enough." "You matter most," Victoria whispered, drawing her into an embrace that encompassed me too, a tangle of limbs and tears, the three of us holding on as thunder rolled distant. Hours passed in halting confessions. Victoria's college lover lost to family pressure, my high school crush on a cheerleader that ended in whispers and exile. Emily listened, her own stories spilling, her bisexuality hidden for fear of complicating our bond. By dawn, as rain pattered gentle, We'd forged a pact. Honesty, no more shadows. Emily moved back home full-time, the three of us navigating the awkward grace of lovers and family under one roof. Summer deepened, fields ripening under relentless sun, mirroring the bloom between Victoria and me. Morning started tangled in her bed, her fingers tracing lazy patterns on my back as birdsong filtered through curtains. "Stay," she'd murmur, lips against my temple. "Build this with me." Work called me back to Des Moines, shifts at the garage pulling me away 3 days a week, but those commutes became pilgrimages, radio tuned to old country ballads that echoed our unspoken vows. Evenings, we'd cook together, Victoria's hands guiding mine over dough for pie crusts, her laughter bubbling when flour dusted my nose. "My little mess," she'd tease, kissing it away. But tension lurked, insidious as weeds. Town hall meetings where sidelong glances turned to outright stares, a cancelled order at the feed store with a muttered immoral. Victoria bore it with chin high, but I saw the toll, the way her smile faltered when alone, shoulders curving inward. One crisp September evening, it boiled over. We'd attended the Harvest Festival, hands linked defiantly under the harvest moon. Booths brimmed with caramel apples and quilt raffles, children darting like fireflies. Emily danced with a cute librarian she'd met, leaving us to wander the midway. Then Mrs. Hargrove, the postmistress with a tongue sharper than barbed wire, cornered us by the cider press. "Victoria Ellis, parading this arrangement? What would your late husband say?" Victoria stiffened, but I stepped forward, fire in my veins. "He'd say mind your own damn business, Evelyn. Love's not a spectator sport." The crowd hushed, eyes on us like spotlights. Victoria's hand tightened on mine, a silent thank you, as Hargrove huffed away. But later, in the truck's cab, tears tracked her cheeks. "You're brave, Rosalie. Braver than me." I pulled over under a canopy of stars, cupping her face. "We're brave together. That's the point." Our kiss that night was fierce, reclaiming, bodies pressing urgent against the leather seats, a reminder that some battles won themselves in surrender. Fall brought changes, leaves turning flame, Emily's relationship blossoming into something tentative and true. She confided over pumpkin carving, knife pausing mid-slice. "Seeing you too. It's made me honest. Ask Sarah out." She said yes. Pride swelled, fierce and maternal. About time. Life's too short for what-ifs. Yet my own what-ifs nod. My parents' visit loomed. Thanksgiving, their first since my letter. "Mom, Dad, I'm gay." And happy. Her name's Victoria. Dad's response had been silence, then a gruff, "As long as you're safe." Mom's, prayers and questions. Would they see the woman who'd mended me? Or just the face? The day arrived crisp, turkey roasting golden. Victoria fluttered like a leaf in wind, setting extra places with linen napkins. "What if they hate me?" "They'll love you," I assured, kissing her flour-dusted cheek. "Because I do." The meal unfolded tense at first. Awkward silences broken by Emily's jokes, Dad's rumbling queries about the farm. But as pie steamed on plates, Mom reached for Victoria's hand. "She looks at you like you're the sun, dear." That's enough for me. Tears pricked, relief flooding. By evening, stories flowed. Family albums passed, laughter easing knots. As they drove away, waving from the sedan, Dad clapped my shoulder. "Proud of you, kid. All the way." Winter crept in soft, snow blanketing fields like forgiveness. We decorated the tree with ornaments from Victoria's childhood, tinsel catching firelight as we made love by its glow, slow, worshipful, her name a prayer on my lips. Emily and Sarah joined for New Year's, toasts raised to new beginnings. But spring unearthed old roots. A letter arrived, creased and formal, the farm's deed contested by a distant cousin, claiming inheritance rights. "Blood only," it sneered, ignoring Victoria's decades of sweat. Rage simmered, but we fought smart, lawyers in Des Moines, petitions signed by neighbors who'd warmed to our unconventional but kind ways. Court dates loomed, stress etching lines around Victoria's eyes. One stormy April night, as hail pelted windows, doubt cracked her open. What if we lose it all? The home I built for Emily. I held her through shudders, whispering fierce. Then we build again. You, me, her. Unbreakable. The hearing came sweltering June, county courthouse stuffy with history. The cousin, slick-suited, spun tales of traditional values. But witnesses poured in, Emily's testimony tearful and true, neighbors attesting to Victoria's legacy. When the judge ruled in our favor, deed affirmed, cousin slinking away, cheers echoed off marble walls. Outside, under a sky clearing to blue, Victoria pulled me close. We did it. We did, I echoed, kissing her temple. In that victory, I saw our future, resilient, rooted. Summer circled back, anniversaries marked with quiet rituals, a picnic by the creek where we'd first kissed, wildflowers in her hair. Emily's engagement to Sarah sparkled on her finger, wedding plans weaving our lives tighter. As fireflies danced that July eve, Victoria traced my ring. Marry me, Rosalie. Make it legal, loud, forever. Tears blurred stars.
Yes.
God, yes. The barn wedding unfolded as dream, vows exchanged amid hay-scented air, rings binding promises. Emily's toast rang clear, to love that sees you, secrets and all. And in Victoria's arms, dancing slow under lanterns, I knew we'd fixed more than a car that fateful day. We'd mended hearts, forged family, claimed a life unapologetic. Love, it turned out, wasn't just a secret unveiled. It was the story we wrote next, page by fearless page. Yet even in that perfect swirl of confetti and cake, Emily's homemade carrot, laced with cinnamon and nostalgia, the undercurrent of our journey lingered, a reminder that happy endings were hard-won, pieced from the shards of doubt and defiance. As guests milled, clinking glasses and swapping stories of their own hidden loves, I stole a moment with Victoria on the porch, her hand warm in mine, the Iowa night alive with crickets chorus. Think they'll remember this? I asked, nodding toward the barn where laughter spilled like light. She smiled, that knowing curve of lips that still set my pulse racing. They'll remember us. That's the victory. But victories, I'd learn, were fragile things, tested by time's quiet erosions. The months post-wedding blurred into a rhythm of domestic bliss laced with the farm's demands, dawn risings to milk cows, evenings weeding the victory garden that had become our metaphor, roots deep, blooms defiant. Emily and Sarah set a date for spring, their union a mirror to ours, full of tentative joys and shared chores. My garage job evolved too. The owner, a gruff veteran named Hank who'd grumbled at first about my city distractions, now ribbed me good-naturedly about that farmer's wife keeping you soft. I laughed it off, but the words stung subtle, a reminder that acceptance was patchwork, not seamless. Fall brought the first real fracture. A letter from my parents, postmarked hasty. Rosalie, your mother's unwell. Cancer. Come home. The words blurred as I read, Victoria's arms enveloping me from behind, her silence a steady ache. We drove through amber fields, the Chevy humming faithful, the same one I'd fixed that fateful day, now our chariot for crises. Mom lay frail in the hospital bed, Dad pacing like a caged wolf, his eyes red-rimmed. She's asking for you, he said, voice rough. Forgiveness had mended much since my coming out, but illness stripped pretenses bare. Mom's hand, thin-veined, clasped mine. Proud of your bravery, Rosie. Wish I'd been braver sooner. Victoria waited in the hall, a pillar, fetching coffees and holding Dad's shoulder when tears broke free. Over the weeks, as chemo cycles ground on, she became family in ways words couldn't touch, cooking pots of chili that filled the house with warmth, sitting vigil when exhaustion claimed us. One midnight, as monitors beeped soft, Mom pulled us close. "You too. You're light. Don't let the world dim it." She rallied enough for a visit to the farm, wheelchair rolling over gravel, eyes widening at the harvest moon. Emily wheeled her to the creek, stories flowing like water. "This place heals," Mom murmured, Victoria's hand on hers. Winter gripped tight that year, snowdrifts burying fences, mirroring the cold knot in my chest when Mom weakened again. Victoria drove the night shifts, her voice a lullaby over phone lines. "Come home to me. We're enough." The end came gentle, February's Eve, snow falling fat flakes outside the window. Mom slipped away with Dad's hand in hers, my kiss on her forehead, Victoria's prayer whispered low. At the funeral, small and stark in the Methodist church, eulogies spoke of her quiet strength. I added mine. "She taught me love's not hidden, it's lived loud." Grief hollowed me, days blurring to gray. Victoria held space, no pressure for words, just her presence, mugs of tea by the fire, walks where silence spoke volumes. Emily baked pies that went uneaten, Sarah's hugs fierce anchors. Spring thawed the earth and me, green shoots piercing soil like hope. We scattered Mom's ashes by the creek, a ritual of release. Petals on water, vows to carry her light. That night, Victoria and I made love urgent, reclaiming life. Bodies entwined, tears salting skin, her whispers, "I see you," a balm. Renewal bloomed literal. The farm's first lambs tottered on spindly legs. Emily's wedding dress fittings filled the house with lace and laughter. But shadows lingered in town. Graffiti on our mailbox, sinners, scrawled crude. Victoria washed it away wordless, but I saw the flinch. Enough, I decided. We hosted a potluck, inviting the skeptics, Hargrove included, tables groaning under casseroles and cobblers. Stories swapped, walls crumbled tentative. A young mother confessed her own hidden bisexuality. An old farmer nodded gruff approval. "Y'all make this place better." Summer sweltered triumphant. Our first anniversary marked with a road trip, Chevy loaded, tent strapped, heading west to the Badlands where horizons stretched endless. Nights under stars, her head on my lap, we dreamed expansions, solar panels on the barn, a B&B for queer travelers seeking sanctuary. Back home, expansion took shape. Emily's wedding, April blushed under apple blossoms, wove us tighter. Vows exchanged on the porch, rings glinting as Sarah kissed her with promise. I stood maid of honor, Victoria's eyes meeting mine over bouquets, love a steady flame.
Bút lai sợ kịch tính never sợ leap.
July heat waves scorched crops, bills mounting like threats. A storm hit vicious, barn roof caving under hail, animals lowing panic. We scrambled midnight, tarps flapping futile, Victoria's shout overwhined. Together. Dawn revealed wreckage, insurance claims a maze. Sleepless nights tallied losses, doubt whispering failure. One dawn, as sun crested red, Victoria broke. What if we're not enough? For this, for us. I pulled her to the ruined field, hands framing her face slick with dew. We are. Look, seeds survive storms. So do we. Rebuild began communal. Neighbors hauling lumber, Hank driving down with tools, his crew pitching in. Emily organized fundraisers, Sarah's library hosting readings of queer lit that drew crowds. In the sweat and sawdust, bonds forged unbreakable. By harvest, the barn stood stronger, reinforced beams a metaphor. Our potluck that year overflowed, toasts to resilience ringing. Fall deepened colors, my parents' empty chair at Thanksgiving filled by Dad's new companion, a widow from church, her laugh tentative light. He pulled me aside after pie. Your mom's watching. Approving. Tears pricked, gratitude swelling. Victoria's hand under the table, squeeze affirming. Winter holidays twinkled, tree trimmed with mom's ornaments, lights strung defiant. New Year's, Emily announced pregnancy. Adopted. A boy due spring. Joy exploding like fireworks. Spring birthed miracles. Little Theo's arrival, chubby-fisted and wailing, cradled first by Emily, then passed round our circle. Victoria cooed soft, her eyes on me wistful. Think. Someday? My heart flipped. Someday soon. Summer circled full. Anniversary 2 of vow renewal. Private, creekside, rings polished, promises whispered fierce. As fireflies ignited dusk, I knew. Our story wasn't ending. It was endless, a tapestry of trials and triumphs, love the thread binding all. In Victoria's gaze, secrets long unveiled, I saw eternity, not perfect, but profoundly ours. Eternity, though, wore the face of ordinary days, the kind that tested love's metal not with grand gestures, but the grind of living. Theo's cries pierced pre-dawn quiet, Emily bleary-eyed at breakfast, Sarah juggling bottles and books. Our home pulsed fuller, chaos a joyful undercurrent, but it amplified the whispers, town tongues wagging anew about that sapphic commune. Victoria, ever guardian, brushed it off with a farmer's pragmatism. Let him talk. Fields don't care for gossip. But I caught her staring distant at fences, worry etching fine lines. My own doubts crept. Was I enough for this expanded life? The garage promoted me to foreman, hours stretching, grease under nails a constant now, but success tasted bittersweet without her beside. One August evening, heat lightning flickering horizon, conflict ignited. I'd forgotten our date night, reservations at the Italian place in Cedar Rapids, her dress laid out hopeful. Home late, tool belt clinking, I found her on the porch swing, wine glass stem twirling slow. Sorry, I rushed, dropping keys. Emergency tow, Hank's truck. Her smile didn't reach eyes. It's fine. Again. The word hung sharp. I sank beside her, swing creaking judgment. Talk to me. She sighed, setting glass down. I miss us, Rosalie. The stolen moments, the fire. Now it's schedules and spills, and I wonder if we're fading. Panic clutched. We're not. God, Vic, I love you more every damn day. Love's not enough sometimes, she whispered, voice cracking. It's showing up. Guilt twisted, her words mirror to my fears. We argued rare, voices rising over crickets, accusations flying. My workaholic tendencies, her unspoken resentments. You think I don't see you pulling away? I shot, hiding behind chores. She stood, swing stilling abrupt. Because that's what I do. Hold it together. For Emily, for Theo, for us. Storm broke then. Not skies but us. Tears hot, embrace fierce. I'm scared, I admitted, face buried in her neck. Of losing you to this life we built too fast. Her fingers threaded my hair, anchor. Then slow it. With me. Reconciliation came slow burn. Date nights reclaimed, no phones, just hands linked over pasta, dances in kitchen to radio croon. We carved us time, weekends creekside, picnics with wine and whispers, rediscovering bodies like new maps. Fall harvested abundance, crops bountiful, Theo toddling wobbly toward us, his gurgles glue. But shadow fell when Sarah's mother visited, staunch conservative from Omaha, eyes narrowing at our rings. Dinner tensed, her barbs veiled. Modern families, Such confusion for the boy. Emily bristled, but Victoria diffused graceful. Love's the best teacher, ma'am. Theo's lucky, surrounded by it. The woman left early, chill lingering, but it sparked resolve. We started a support group. Queer families in the county, meetings at the library, stories shared over coffee. First night, 5 attendees. By winter, 20. Faces lit with recognition, the isolation cracking. Holiday lights twinkled defiant that year, Theo's first Christmas a wonder. Paper chains he gummed gleeful, stockings plump. Dad arrived with his partner, Ellen, soft-spoken, knitting scarves that itched affectionate. Over eggnog, he pulled Victoria aside. You saved my girl. You saved my girl. Thank you. Her eyes misted, my heart full. New Year dawned crisp, resolutions whispered, more adventures. We planned a trip, Yellowstone, geysers steaming like our passions renewed. Rode their wove through Badlands again, Theo strapped secure, Emily and Sarah trailing in their SUV. Parks unfolded magic, bison lumbering majestic, hikes where little hands clutched ours, nights in lodges with stars spilling endless. One evening by Old Faithful, steam-curling ethereal, Victoria drew me apart. Remember our first trip? Just us. I nodded, arm around her waist. Feels like yesterday. And forever. Her kiss tasted of promise, geyser erupting applause. Spring swelled with Theo's birthday, first cake, frosting-smeared grin, amid blooms riotous. But Kitchen stirred when the cousin resurfaced, appeal filed sly, dredging old claims. Court loomed again, stress coiling tight. We prepared meticulous, documents stacked, allies rallied. Hearing day dawned gray, courthouse echoing our footsteps. Opposing counsel spun webs, but our lawyer dismantled, witnesses testifying Victoria's stewardship, Emily's tearful plea for legacy. Judge's gavel fell final, dismissed. Outside, rain held off, sun breaking triumphant. Hugs fierce, Theo's babble victory chant. Summer baked hot, rebuilds complete, new solar arrays gleaming, farm sustainable symbol. Anniversaries 3 marked intimate. Creek vow, rings renewed, bodies sealing oaths under willows. Yet personal storms brewed. My promotion pressured. Overtime endless. Homecomings late. Victoria's patience frayed. One night confrontation crisp. I need you here, not a ghost. I quit the grind, started freelance, mobile repairs, flexible for family. Balance tipped, presence gift. Fall's colors peaked, harvest dance communal, fiddles wailing, feet stomping dirt. Theo clapped pudgy hands, Emily pregnant again, girl this time, ultrasound pink promise. Winter wrapped cozy, holidays layered memory, mom's recipes revived, dad and Ellen's stories weaving lore. Theo's first words, Auntie Vic, melted us puddle. Spring birthed the girl, Lila, tiny fierce, lungs belting arrival. Cradle joined Theo's, house fuller song. But loss shadowed, Hank's heart attack, garage faltering. I stepped in interim, wrench turning legacy. Victoria supported seamless, her, you've got this mantra. Summer circled, anniversary 4 lakeside cabin, kids with Emily just us. Canoe drifts, loons calling, nights firelit fervent. Still my secret keeper, she murmured, head on chest. Always your heart, I replied. In that quiet, I reflected, from carhood glance to this, family forged fire, love life's true engine. Kitchen came, but we revved through, engines purring strong. Our story, not fairy tale flawless, but human holy, secret shared, scars badges, love the road endless. Holy, yes, but holiness demanded vigilance, a daily recommitment amid life's relentless churn. Lila's colic nights blurred to exhaustion haze, Theo's terrible twos tantrums testing tempers. Emily and Sarah juggled parenthood's juggernaut, date nights stolen rare, their once sparkle dimmed fatigue. We'd gather Sundays, potluck prayers, less formal now, more ritual of resilience, shared plates, vented woes, laughter reclaiming ground. Victoria thrived matriarch, her farm hands steady guiding growth, organic co-op launched, produced stands bustling. But success spotlighted us. Local paper profile, Heartland Hearts, a queer family's bloom. Photos captured us candid, me grease-fingered beside her apron, kids tumbling wild. Praise poured, but so pushback. Hate mail scrawled venom, truck tires slashed one dawn. Fear flickered, but we fortified. Security lights installed. Community watches woven tighter. They're scared of what we represent, Victoria said, scrubbing marker from mailbox. Strong women loving loud. Fall frosted crisp. School's starting. Theo kindergarten bound. Backpack oversized comical. Drop-off teared us up, his wave brave from gate. Lila babbled babbles, pulling hair tufts, her mischief mirror to his. But internal tempests brewed. My freelance boomed, clients city-bound, overnights creeping. Victoria's quiet cooled, dinner's silent stretches. One harvest moon night, as combines droned distant, she confronted porchlit. You're slipping away again. Heart sank recognition. Work's good. Money for the kids' college, the farm upgrades. Money doesn't hug, she countered, voice velvet steel. Or kiss goodnight. Argument escalated measured. Hurt honed honest. I feel invisible, she admitted, tears silver tracks. Like the woman you fell for is fading to farmer, mother, everything but lover. Guilt gutted. You're everything. I'm scared of failing you all. Embrace followed. Apologies air thick. Fail with me, she urged. That's partnership. Changes cascaded. Business boundaries set. Family first etched ethic. Date nights revived. Picnic starlit. Massages traded tender. Intimacy reignited slow simmer to blaze. Rediscovery delicious. Winter's hush amplified joys. Holidays hybrid. Ellen's lax mingling momsiel log. Dad's stories grandpa glow. Theo's elf antics. Lila's first step staggering to Victoria. Arms open eternal. New Year toasted expansions. Co-op greenhouse planned. Queer youth camp dreamed. Emily's novel published. Memoir veiled our saga. Fields of hidden bloom. Bestseller local. Pride swelling. Spring showered petals. Lila's baptism unconventional. Creekside circle. Friends vowing witness. But storm struck swift. Dad's stroke. Mild but marker. Hospital beeps echoing mom's ghost. We rallied road tripping. Kids in tow. Recovery rehabbed steady. Ellen's care constant. Our presence punctuation. You girls, he rasped, gripping hands. My anchors. Summer sun-baked triumphs. Greenhouse framed glass glint. Camp pilot weekend. Teens tentative opening. Stories shared fire circle frank. One boy, eyes haunted, hugged Victoria fierce. You make space safe. Tears hers, mine mirroring. That's the goal. Anniversary 5 crested wave. Hot air balloon dawn. Basket swaying skies. Earth miniature miracle. Up here, she said, wind whipped. All feels possible. Down here too. I vowed. Ring kiss seal. Fall's palette painted poignant. Harvest yielding record. But kitsch tinkin, cousin's final ploy, defamation suit, lies libeling Victoria's lifestyle, corrupting land. Lawyers looped, stress spiked sleepless. A court convened winter lean, testimonies torrent. Neighbors defending, Emily's eloquence eviscerating falsehoods. Judge dismissed derisive, sanctions slapped. Relief reigned, party porch pounding, music midnight, dances defiant. Spring's renewal ritual, planting ceremony, kids' hands soil-stained, seeds sown hope. Lila's words lisped Mama Row, heart melt. Summer's heat hatched camp full-fledged, cabins queer-carved, activities affirming. Victoria directed dynamo, me wrenching rigs reliable. One eve, bonfire blaze, a girl came out tear-streaked. I thought I was alone. Victoria's arm around. Never again. Fall deepened bonds, Theo's school play star, tree and nutcracker. Proud parents row front. Lila's laughter linguini tangle. Two's terrific. Winter wrapped wonder. First snowman family, carrots nose crunched. Holidays hearth warm, dad home hail. Ellen's ring proposed accepted. Double wedding spring? New Year dawned bold. Expansions etched. Farm stay queer friendly booked solid. But personal precipice. Victoria's ache announced rheumatoid. joints protesting farm's toll. Doctor's office stark, prescriptions piled. Fear flared mine. Will adapt. No more heavy lifting, you direct, I do. Her squeeze grateful. Team. Spring's wedding duel. Emily/Sarah vow renew. Dad/Ellen fresh start. Barn bursting bloom. Toast triple timed. Summer solstice celebrated camp graduation. Teens transform tall. Anniversary 6 seaside. Rented cottage waves crash. Kids with sitters. Us unhurried undressed. Still know your secrets? She teased, sand-salted skin. Everyone, I murmured, love language. In that tide pool, reflection rippled, from glance stolen to legacy woven, family fractal, love lattice linking all. Kitsch tin crests, but we crest too, resilient ripple. Our tale? Epic ongoing, chapters chiseled choice, secrets not shame, but spark divine. Divine spark, indeed, but divinity danced in details, the micro-moments that magnified meaning. Victoria's arthritis morning started stiff, my hands her heat pads, rubbing circles slow, kisses chasing pain. She yielded reins reluctant, me shouldering scythes and sacks, muscles memory-making. Theo's questions quickened. Why 2 mommies? Picnic blanket blunt. We answered age soft. Love comes in colors, buddy. Ours matches hearts. Schoolyard stares stung him once. Taunt weird, home huffing hurt. Victoria knelt eye level. Weird's wonderful. Like superheroes different. His Cape Crusade followed, drawing rainbows class-wide, teacher beaming bulletin. Lila's Lisplitney's charmed. Vicky fix boo-boo. Band-aids applied haphazard heroic. Co-op burgeoned. Markets Manhattan-bound. Our jams Jared Ellis love. Labels lavender-laced. Media murmured more. Podcast invite. Queer roots in red soil. We demurred first. Spotlight scorched, but Victoria's voice velvet. Share to shelter others. Studio buzzed, mics intimate. Her stories spilled soul bared. Widowhood's void, my arrival engine revving heart. Listeners leaned, my hand hers hidden hold. Fall's frost-framed family flux. Sarah's job offer Chicago. Emily torn tentative. Discussions dinner deep. Roots run deep here, Victoria urged. But wings too. They stayed, compromise carved, remote work, visits vibrant. Thanksgiving tableau. Dad's carving knife steady, Ellen's pies perfect, kids' chaos corralled. Toasts touched ghosts, mom's laugh lingered lore. Winter's whiteout tested, blizzard buried barn, power pulsed out. Generator grumbled, fort built blankets, stories shadowed candle. Theo's once upon freezer, giggles gale force. Spring's thaw trilled, Lila's potty parade, Theo's tadpole terrarium, frogs freed festive. But bolt struck, farm audit IRS, anomaly arithmetic, taxes tangled. Accountant clucked confusion, hours haggled ledgers. Stress simmered Victoria's joints flare, my sleep chardade. One audit eve, breakdown brewed. What if fraud flagged? Legacy lost. Arms enveloped. Numbers lie not. We're clean. Resolution dawned dismissal. Error clerical. Apologies abject. Relief roared. Bonfire burned paper symbolic. Summer's symphony swelled. Camp capacity crammed. Counselors kid-gloved. One teen, runaway roots, stayed summer, our niece honorary, healing harvested. Anniversary 7 Alpine, Colorado cabins, hikes hand-hewn. Peaks pierced clouds, her whisper wind. Higher with you. Fall's foliage fire, harvest hoedown, fiddles fever, dances dust-kicked. Theo's crushed classmate confessed. She's a girl, like me likes. Pride parent, tell her true. Kindergarten kiss camo crayon. Innocence intact. Winter wove whimsy. Ice rink improvised. Skates slipped silly. Holidays hybrid heightened. Ellen's conjoined, quilt circle queer quilted. New Year nibbled resolutions, wellness walks, arthritis aqua. Spring surprise, Victoria's remission scan, joints jubilant, docs dazzled. Lifestyle love, she joked, my kiss credence. Summer solstice sacred, camp closing ceremony, teens torches lit testimonies. You gave me ground, one signed ASL, deaf daughter discovered. Tears triple, ours, hers, horizon hope. But undercurrent churned, town election, conservative challenger platform, family values, veiled venom. Our group geared, letters local, votes voiced. Election eve edged, polls pocked protest. Results rippled relief, incumbent in, inch integrity. Falls bomb, Theo's birthday 10, double digits daring, drone desired. Lila's 5 fierce, fairy wings flutter. Thanksgiving thanks tripled, abundances audible. Winter's whisper, Dad's diagnosis dodged, checkup clear, Ellen's embrace eternal. Spring's bloom, garden guild girls, Theo/Lila trowels tiny, weeds ward whimsical. Summer saga, anniversary 8 Aegean, Greek Isles imagined, but budget-bound Berkshires. Cabins creekside, canoes caress, kids corralled cousins. Night's nebula naked, her narrative. From Iowa glance to global gaze, our arc. Arc eternal, I echoed, eclipse embrace. Reflection rippled retrospective, wrench drop day, eyes electric, secrets sparked saga. Kitsch tin kaleidoscope, storm sailed, scars stories. Family fractal flowered. Emily's third, Theo's tween torments tamed, Lila's lullabies learned. Love, lens luminous, lighting lives layered. No end etched, only ever after, authored affection. Affection authored adventures anew, life's ledger balanced bold. Theo's tween turbulence tested, crushes complicated, coming out casual to us, like you and Mom Vic. Pride parental profound. School counselor called conference, supportive home huge. We nodded knowing, resources relayed, books borrowed, buddies built. Lila's kindergarten leap wilting, letters looped laborious, lunchbox love notes. Draw us forever, she demanded, crayons couple-colored. Co-op crested crest, national nod, sustainable sapphic success. Tours trickled, tourists tentative touching tomatoes, tails traded tender. Victoria's vitality vaulted, yoga yielded youth, joints jaunty. Your massage is magic, she winked, wellness walk winding woods. Fall's fanfare, harvest high, yields yawned, yields yellowed. Festival frolic, Theo's 4-H hog hefted blue ribbon, Lila's lemon bars lip smack. But Barb bit, old flame Victoria's, college crush, Carla, letter landed. Visiting nearby. Coffee. Jealousy jabbed, but trust triumphed. Go, I urged. Closure chapter. Cafe catch-up cordial. Stories swapped, scars softened. Carla's you glow, Vic deserved. My pickup post, her hug. No threat just then. Relief rippled, romance reaffirmed. Dinner danced, desire doubled. Thanksgiving tableau teaming. Ellen's clan clashed cultures comical, Dad's dad jokes droll. Winter's weave, skates sharpened, sleds, sword slopes. Theo's tech tinkering, robots rudimentary, my wrench, wisdom wedded. Spring spark, Lila's loss first, goldfish gulped, grave garden graveled. Circle life, Victoria voiced, violets veiled. Summer surge, camp chronicle, teens 25, themes thriving threads. Guest griot, author queerkin, keynote kinesthetic. Anniversary 9 nautical, Lake Michigan marooned, mainsail metaphor. Winds whipped, waves wooed, whispers wave woven, sails steady. Falls flourish. Emily's expansion. Fourth foster. Boy bouncy. House hummed harmony. Election echo. Ally ascended council. Policies protective. Pride parade permitted proper. Winter's warmth. Holidays hallowed. Hymns hummed. Hearth hugged. Theo's holiday help. Santa's elf earnest. Cookies crumbed. New Year nestled. Goals gilded. Greenhouse gala. Grandkids? Wait whimsical. Spring serendipity. Surprise scan. Victoria's Aunt Flo. Announced donor dreamed. Consults cascaded. Chances charted cheerful. Summer suspense. Procedure prepped. Prayers private. Positive ping. Pregnancy perched. Falls fan. Bump blooming. Ultrasounds undulated. Theo's sub-squad. Lila's lullaby lessons. Thanksgiving thanks thunderous. Life's loaf, leaven love. Winter's watch. Waddle widened, weather whooshed. Delivery dawn December. Girl, Gemma, gurgled greet. Bundle bliss. Family fivefold. Victoria's vigor victorious. Our miracle, she marveled, mewling mouth mine kissed. Spring's swell. Gemma's gaze green. Mine mirrored. Naps nested. Night's nurse knew. But balance battled. Baby blues brushed Victoria brief. My mediation midwife. Hormones hurricane. Doc deemed. Hugs healed. Harmony hummed. Summer song. Camp conjoined. Gemma cooed carrier. Teens tickled tiny. Anniversary 10 transcendent. Tent trails. Tots trailed. Tents twined. Tales told torchlit. Reflection refracted. Decade danced. Glance genesis. Now galaxy grown.
Kịch tính Kinnet, Keep Ali.
Love's lexicon? Limitless. Letters lace legacy. Secret symphony. Souls synced. Legacy laced laughter loudest. Gemma's gurgles gospel to our gospel. Mornings multiplied mayhem. Bottles burped. Diapers dodged. Victoria's veteran voice. Shift swap. Symphony survived. Love's libretto. Theo's teen tilt tipped. Braces battle. Bestie breakup. Boy band heartbreak hashed homework hall. Girls get me. He confided. Crush cataloged. We coached casual. Consent key kid. Lila's leap grades. Glasses gawky grin. Guitar strum strident. Sing us stories. She serenaded supper. Co-op coronation. Cookbook crowdfunded. Fields of flavor. Queer harvests. Recipes rhymed romance. My motor oil muffins. Victoria's vixen vinaigrette. Falls fire. Foster finalized. Fourth family fixture. Finn. Fidgety 4. Emily's full forever. Exhaustion edged but ecstatic. Thanksgiving torrent. Tables teetered turkey. Tots tumbled. Dad's discourse doting. Ellen's empathy endless. Winter's whimsy. Gemma's first festive. Fingers fur fragrant. Fogged window finger paints. Spring sprout. Finn's fears faded. Farm friends fast. Frog hunts fervent. Summer saga supreme. Camp crescendo. Cabin's capacity. Counselors celebrated. Gemma's gander geese gaggle. Giggles global. Anniversary 11 alpine anew. Aspen aspired, but acreage ample. Acre ambles. Aspen arms akimbo. Falls fanfare finale? No. Futures forged. Theo's talent show triumph. Trombone toot terrific. Tears tipped. Winters weave warm. Holidays heightened. Harp harmonies. Hearth heroes. New Year nodded. Nest next. Nursery nook. Numbers 9. Spring serendipity. Second scan. Boy brewing. Brendan named. Summer suspense redux. Swell stately. Support steadfast. Delivery danced dawn. Brendan bellowed bold. Bundle boy blue-eyed. Duo delights. Gemma's guardian gig. Coups coordinated. Balance beamed brighter. Village. Grandmas galore. Uncles uncounted. Falls flourish full. Finn's first fall fair. Ferris fear-faced. Funnel fun. Thanksgiving thanks tapestry. Threads thick. Texture textured. Winter's whisper wonder. Brendan's baptism brook. Bubbles buoyant. Spring's bloom boundless. Lila's laurels. Literacy lead. Library liaison. Summer's symphony soared. Camp Chronicle closed. Legacy launched. Alumni ambassadors. Anniversary 12 coastal Carolina coasts. Clams clammed. Kids kayaked. Night's nebula narrated. From fixed to family. Fortune favored. Reflection radiant. Dozen danced. Depths delved. Kitsch tin keepsake. Kisses kindled. Love's lore? Luminous legacy. Lev's linked luminous. Secret stardust. Soul's supernova. Years yarned yet, but root remains. That driveway dawn. Eyes eloquent. Eternal ember. In every glance now, grace gleams. Seen, known, loved. Lesbian love's luminous line.